Steve, turn it on. My name is James Thurston. I'm a student here. This is my last semester in Weatherford. Before I get started, I'm going to turn off the lights and do a little PowerPoint for y'all, but there's two things that you got to know is it's so important to have education as a foundation. I'm 33 years old, and it took me a long time to realize I have to have an education. And if you look around the room, I see there's a lot of us that are older, and if you ask them, they're going to tell you they wish they would have went to college when they were teens or 20, 18 years old. We wouldn't be here now in our 30s, 40s, 50s, and even up above that. But the thing is, all is everybody in this room has a story, and it's what you do with it. John's story, it's hard to go behind him because I'm still like shaking up. Every time I hear it, it just brings tears to my eye because it's surreal, and everybody has something like that, but it's what you do with it. And y'all are actually very lucky because yesterday I didn't have my daughter with me, but today I have my daughter Samantha, and you'll see why she's so special to me here in a minute. But the reason I do this is on the way over here, she said she's in 6th grade here in Weatherford, and they're having to write poems, and she already wrote her poem, but on the way over here she said, Dad, I'm going to rewrite mine because I want it to be about people's stories because everybody has one, so I want to make it to where everybody understands that there's a story behind every person. So with that, I'm going to hit these lights and start with this. Can y'all see that back there, or do we want to hit those lights too? Yep. Can y'all see back there? In the back?
This one or this one?
Whew, not that
I'll
one.
just leave, yeah, that's good.
This one?
I'm actually an 8th grade dropout. Being in 8th grade, I was an AP honor roll student, but I constantly was bullied over and over and over and over again, and I got tired of it, so I was able to talk my mom into pulling me out and putting me in homeschool, which is, if she would have had the time, she had 4 kids and worked 3 jobs to actually do it, it probably would have been beneficial. It didn't work that way, so I started framing houses and doing things like that, and I realized, so I got my hands, I can make money with just my hands. I don't have to have school or anything like that. I was even an AB honor roll student, and some of my classes for freshmen were going to be honors, but I didn't make it. 10 days before my 18th birthday, I was in a head-on collision that, I don't know how, but it almost took my life. It shattered both of the bones in my right leg. It left me just kind of wondering, what am I supposed to do with my life now? My friends all disappeared because I couldn't get around. So I decided to get my GED. It was May of 2001, I took it and I didn't pass. I had to work on a few things, so I went to class for about 2 weeks, and then by June I was able to pass it. Keep in mind, I was in that wreck at the end of April. It was the 19th of April. But yet I pulled myself together to do this because I needed something to go on. I got married at a young age. I was 20 years old. My wife was only 18 years old. She just had graduated that May when we got married. I was uneducated. We didn't have no money, so we had to go to the courthouse to get married. By the time I was 20, I had bought a brand new home. I had several credit cards. I had 2 brand new cars. I had everything you could think of, but it was just because I had a little bit of good credit. I didn't have a good job because I didn't have an education, but they kept selling me things. Everybody would sell me something, and I was like, I can handle it. Well, it all caught up to me, and part of it was the medical bills, but I had to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy at 25 years old. The reason the medical bills was because of my daughter. She was born with a diaphragmatic hernia, which is CDH. She had a hole in her diaphragm, so everything was up and over. She had at that time, there wasn't probably a whole lot. It was 2005, and I know Cooks was still learning how to handle this because there was no reason for this to happen to kids, but she was basically given 25 chance of survival. Her second day of life, they had to go in and cut her. Where you can see that scar is now, and it's actually still there. Being 22 at that time, there's nothing scarier than knowing that you might lose your daughter. Again, when she was 4 years old, we had to go through it again. Had all her scar tissue had taken and cut off all her intestines, and they pretty much told us another week and she wouldn't have been here. Today she's 11 years old. She's 6th grade. Last year she was 5th grade. A honor roll. She's happy and healthy. And part of the reason I do this speech is for her too, because and she became a part of this, and she loves to come now, and she's taken Ms. Tyler and John. They became mentors of mine, and they became mentors of hers now. Because every time that she asks, "Where's John? Where's Ms. Tyler?" which makes me feel good because I know that they'll give her any little bit that she needs also. My wife had to get her degree online because of Samantha was severely sick. We were scared to take her anywhere because we didn't know what was going to happen. Because they told us at any time anything could happen, scar tissue as a baby. So she got her associate's degree, but by the time she was going for her bachelor's, she had our second child on the way and was going for her bachelor's, but she was working full-time also. Because of that, going to the University of Phoenix, which I'm not saying it's a bad school, but it's actually higher now. It was $410 a credit hour. So $60,000 for a 4-year degree. And it's not your TCU, it's not your A&M, but it's because she had to do it online. We had to pay that price. My work life, I've done nothing but retail. I've worked for Super Save, Walmart, Dillard's, Lowe's. I've chased jobs. I've had managers that'll call me, hey, I'll pay you this to come work for me. Because I was a hard worker. I used my hands, and that's what they were after. So I constantly just chasing money. And I could never find happiness or fulfillment. I was just like, well, I'll just chase the money around because that's what I need. I put this on here for victim mentality, and it's awesome that John did his speech because that's what he's getting at. Don't play the victim. Accept responsibility. Don't blame others. Your grades are earned, not given. You're your own worst enemy. Remember to choose the professor. They didn't choose you. And just kind of like he was doing, he went and was pointing the finger at his professor saying, hey, it's because you don't like me. It's not that. And we all do this, and you may not realize, I even did this the other night. When I was going through here, I was like, because I had a biology test yesterday, and I was freaking out. Because I knew I wasn't prepared, but it was my own fault. From my college, my first year, I did Phoenix also, because I was like, I'm not going to college with the younger crowd. They're not going to accept us older folks. I know I'm not that old, but still. So that was almost $11,000 for not even a full year at Phoenix. In my second year, I was like, all right, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'll go to school, but I'm going to do it to be a police officer. So I came to Weatherford, but I was working full-time. I was taking 5 classes, full load, all year. There was times I had to get up at 2 in the morning, go to work, get off, come to class, go home, study, go to sleep, get back up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and go again, because I had class pretty much Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I have 3 kids. She's just my oldest. I have a 7-year-old and also a 4-year-old. And what it could have been for me and my wife is if we would have came to school together, if I wouldn't have been so hard-headed and worried about just making money, we both could have came here together and supported each other. I would have 10 years on my job probably by now. I'm 33, so I'd already be into my career. I'd probably be making a little bit more money. I would be able to retire at a younger age. I'd have something in my savings. I'm not going to lie to y'all, I don't have anything right now. I'm just starting. I'm pretty much like y'all, but 13 years behind. Having probably better insurance because my job would be a lot better off than what it is, which is I've got a good job right now, and I'd have savings for my kids. They have nothing right now, so hopefully by the time they get ready, they'll have something. But like I told my daughter, your brain will get you a free tuition. Your education will get you where you need to be without even having to pay for college. This is my transcript, and I'm going to tell I know y'all probably took frameworks like I did. I don't want to do speech, do frameworks, get through it, right, be over. Now, the reason I bring this up is because of frameworks. You can see my GPA right there's a 3.94. I have 1B, and that's because I did something crazy and took ethics in the winter mini, and that's nuts, because the third day you have a test. So if it wasn't for what that class had given me, I wouldn't have that GPA, because I took what was taught there and I use it constantly. And that's what's gotten me where I'm at. The education department and what it did for me, Dr. Pages, Ms. Tyler, and now Ms. Boggs. I've had a couple classes with her. I just took one of her classes. This take charge of your future. I told you I was going to school to be a police officer, and I didn't want nothing else. I wasn't going to be no teacher. I was like, there ain't no way. I'll go to school, but to be a cop, that's it. Well, getting into the frameworks class and noticing the students around that weren't paying attention and didn't want to learn, I even asked Ms. Tyler, so what's going on with these younger crowds? Why aren't they getting this? I was angry because I wish I had somebody to tell me, hey, you need to focus on where you're at. They're not telling you all this to put your phone up to be mean. They're trying to help you. You pay for it. They're going to get paid. Everybody's going to get paid. Their jobs are paid for. They care about y'all. That's why they're here. If they didn't care, they wouldn't be teaching. And the education department is actually what changed my mind to going from a police officer to being a teacher, because I talked to a lot of students and a lot of kids that are just out of high school and they're struggling with things, and I'm like, somebody's got to go and do something to get them prepared for college more than what they are, and not let them be so scared. And I thought, that guy's going to be me. So my goal now is to be a teacher and then become a principal. I pick an inspiration every semester, and I think everybody should do this. You should find somebody that inspires you. The fall last year, I used a student who lost her father to cancer during fall finals, but yet she still got her associate's degree. Spring, I used Miss Tyler. She lost her father last November, so she was my inspiration, because even though she lost her father, where was she at? She was in the classroom. She wanted to see that everybody was there and did their finals and saw things through. This semester, just talking to Miss Boggs for a little while, that lady deeply cares about everybody. She's been with the college for 20 years. All her children are adopted. She lost everything she had in the 1996 Park County wildfire, was left with nothing. And if you talk to her, you'll know. She don't sit there and oh, poor pity me. No. She goes on. Her husband's disabled. She's raising 5 of her grandkids now. And they're still pretty young, all of her grandkids. And her goal is to remember every student's name. She even plays a little game where you have to go around the room and name everybody, because she wants everybody to know everybody on a personal level. And she's very dedicated to her students. I put the little mountain because she likes to go mountain climbing. She won't tell us her age, but she still climbs mountains. So, and I put this teachable moments because if you ever take one of her classes, she'll stop class and say, okay, here's a teachable moment. And it kind of just touches you because it's only to grow you. And my wife now is a teacher, so I'm working part-time. And she gets mad at me because I go home and I tell her, hey, teachable moment. And I'll tell her something that I learned because she did her teaching certification online. So she's not getting everything that I'm going to get. So I go home and I encourage her. In conclusion, though, you have to set goals for yourself. You have to do this for you. Don't go to school because your parents say, oh, you got to go to college. Because ultimately, you're going to be turned loose and it's all going to be on you. Make smart educational choices. Don't come in and take a bunch of classes and say, well, I'll just barely get by this semester and the next semester I'll do better. If those who plan on having a future wife and kids, you need to think about them because it's going to affect everybody in your household if you have an education or not. And always to encourage others. No matter what you're doing, if you see somebody struggling, reach out and encourage them. There's a couple of people in here that will tell you that I've done that with them, and I've sent them to Kim or somebody else because they're ready to be done. And don't let people just drop out because of this or that. You need to reach out and help them. It's yours to lose or gain, guys. And I know y'all are sitting there probably like, I see, hurry up and be done. This is real. I'm 33 years old. I still got 2 more years of college. And we're not just getting up here and telling y'all these stories to tell y'all these stories. We're trying to help y'all from making the mistakes that we made. And y'all, believe it or not, the ones that are paying attention and that are taking all this in are going to take it in. The rest of y'all, in 10 to 12 years, you're going to be like, man, I should have listened to that guy on the stage because he was right. I'm 33. I got kids now. Now I have to go back to school because not having an education is not going to work. And it's actually even getting more to where an associate's degree won't even get you much. Now you're having to have a bachelor's, and eventually you're going to have a master's to even compete for a job. So I'm telling y'all guys, whatever you do, it don't matter what the struggle is, fight through it. Even if you have to take a couple classes off and only do a couple, it's not worth dropping out. And I don't know if y'all have learned this in frameworks yet, but this has always stuck with me. 25% of students will probably drop out before winter. And it's because they don't have nobody to reach out to, but it's because they don't try to reach out. Like John said, you have to reach out. There's people here that care. There's other students that care. But guys, this is your life, regardless if you realize it or not. And I'm telling y'all, it does not work not to have an education. Thank y'all.